Well, gosh, good afternoon and happy Wednesday out there. Welcome to the Leader Lowdown. My name is Joan Robison, and for those of you that don't know me, typically we do the Leader Lowdown the first Wednesday of every single month. And today I'm so excited. I have my PIC, my partner in crime, Megan Miles, here with me. We're going to be talking today about really empowering questions to propel your prospects into action. And I've got an incredible lineup of speakers and panelists that are part of our Double the Downline Challenge. And Beth Kohler, who I'm going to bring on here in just a moment, brought up, Joan, let's really focus on transitioning, transitioning from having casual conversation to how do people really kind of bring up the business without feeling awkward, spammy, or pushy. And I thought, you know what? This is such a great call because this is a challenge that many people go through. And sometimes this challenge or fear can hold people back from actually having conversations with prospects because they're like, it just feels too awkward. So I thought this is a really great opportunity for us to do a mini training around these transitions. And of course, if you want more training on that, you're going to join the W Downline Challenge, which we'll drop the link in there. But before we get going all the way, I've got Megan here. We'd love to know where you're tuning in from. So go ahead and drop in the comments where you're tuning in from. And I would just like to know from many of you, have you ever felt it awkward to transition from having a casual conversation into popping the question around the business? Or maybe it's going from a connecting place when you're talking all about them into presenting your opportunity. Maybe it's going from presenting the opportunity into, are there any questions you have, or even transitioning to closing. Megan, I want to turn it over to you for a minute. We got Megan back. I'm not going to do any big introduction because you guys all know her. But Megan, talk a little bit about this and what you see going on around those transitions.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely. Well, first off, I just want to welcome everybody and let you know, I know we're streaming on a couple of platforms for the Leader Lowdown, but we're also live in our challenge group for our Double Your Downline Challenge. We'll tell you a little bit more for those of you that aren't registered yet at the end of that. But for those of you registered, the official challenge doesn't kick off till next week, but we're glad you're tuning in here for some extra training. And super excited. So I see Minnesota in the house, Florida, Norway, Columbus, Buffalo. Guys, we have a global challenge launching next week with some incredible panelists. I'm so excited. Okay, so I love that you brought this up because I think that we can get very scripted, especially in the industry. I've been in the industry for almost 11 years, and I was that person fresh out of college, manager for Starbucks, was given like these scripts. And I remember I literally I printed my Facebook friends list. I had 2,000 friends at the time. And I called them and read the script word for word. And I got so many hangups and I did so many things wrong. And I like to think of scripts as like guides, right? Verbiage for you to guide the conversation, to know like which part of the conversation are you in. But I think most often why network marketers and direct sellers, or really anyone in sales and recruiting, because if you didn't know you're in sales and recruiting and you got lied to, like network marketing is sales and recruiting. And that's a great thing because guess what? We get to help people. And that's what I love. And so when you focus less on trying to recruit them and reel them in and more on how can I help them? How can I serve them? And I'm sure Grace and Beth and Laura are going to talk about this as well. But when you transition that mindset, everything changes. It's like people flock to you. They're ready to enroll. The right partners start coming to you. They start enrolling. They start making the educated decisions because of the process and the customer journey that you guide them through. And they feel safe. They feel nurtured and they feel like you care, like you're wanting to partner, not just sell them on something. So that's
Mhm.
my take. I'm really excited to hear from the panelists, and it's so good to see you guys here today. Thanks, Joan.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to bring on,
In the studio.
yeah, back to Joan in the studio, back to Joan at her dining room table, waiting for Maxine to jump up,
I mean,
right?
it's a nice one. Your
Wow.
piece is nice. It's
Well, I got that going for me. All right. So to bring on our first panelist and speaker, I'm going to bring on a good friend of mine, Beth Kohler. Beth started her business 4 years ago, really just saying yes to something to get her outside the box and kind of keep within her business spirit. Since then, Beth has been consistently recognized as a top earner, a top recruiter, and a top seller. In fact, when she was in our last challenge, she recruited, well, actually, it was a couple things before that I think I did. She recruited 7 people. And Beth is recognized as well in in the $1 Million Club at her company. What I love about this woman is she has the business mind, but she has the heart for people. And I want to bring her on. This training really is based on Beth's suggestion, and it's such a good topic. So let's add Beth to the stage.
Hi, you guys.
Oh, sorry. I meant to remove myself to make more room for your beautiful face.
All right, there we go.
Fine. Stick around.
Hey, Beth.
Hey, thank
How
you.
are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for that really nice introduction.
Oh,
I
well,
appreciate it.
you know, in your own words, maybe you could talk a little bit about how your recruiting has really evolved with using some of these skills that you've been learning along the way.
Yes, and you guys get in this Double Your Downline challenge with Joan and Megan. Working with Joan and then getting to know Megan, that's kind of when this whole thing really took off for me. And it's exactly what Megan had just said, was as soon as you can flip that switch from saying, I need this for me, for my business, and you think about it as an opportunity to help people, to serve people, to help them get what they want. You guys, it is exactly like Megan said. People feel that, and they come to you and they ask you questions, and they want to be part of your team, and they want to be part of your business because they can feel your heart, that you want to help them succeed.
Yeah.
We could just summarize that is the biggest change that you can make when it's not about me, it's about other people.
Yeah. And I think, you know, so many times we can even know this, but what I believe is that we've got to kind of feel through this with people, you know, using empathy, using compassion, and really learning how to balance our heart with the head. Because guys, network marketing and direct selling it's a volunteer sales force, right? People don't work for me, they don't work for you, but they need to want to be around us. We need to create a safe place. In fact, I want to share one little tip that really helped me. When I evaluate myself with my team, in my relationships with my builders and leaders and my family, I ask this question. If you're taking notes, write it down. Are people moving closer to me, further away, or are they running for the hills? And I'm sure we've all had them where it's been all the things, right? I'm sure some people are going, oh, I ran away from you, Joan, trust me. But the truth is, when our heart condition is in a place of creating safety, where we are in a place of service, you will, like Megan said, and I love that she said that, people begin to draw to you. So Beth, I had the privilege to be able to train at your leader event, and I'm going to tell you what, Beth has such a incredible group of leaders that they're a tight group. And what I observed was exactly what I'm sharing, was this really, you know, was this leader that's very compassionate with her team and ready to serve and help. And you could see that. So, okay, enough about that. Let's get into this kind of common challenge that people have. And I don't know how if I've ever really identified it the way Beth brought it up, but yet I knew, gosh, we are working with a lot of people around that. So guys, we're talking about transitioning and really how to go first from having a casual conversation to popping the question. Beth, give us some of the things that you're supporting your own team with around doing just this.
Yeah. So we take the whole idea of let's keep it simple. And if you hang around me long enough or you work with me long enough, you find out that like Megan said, at indirect sales, you are selling and you're recruiting. Well, those were my two like real jobs, like in corporate America. Those are the first two things I did. I was a recruiter, and then I was in sales, and then I was in sales training. And one of the things that my team has identified about me, and I do really well, and people want to replicate, is if I want to know something, I ask. Not in an over the top way, not in a way that makes people feel intimidated, but I don't make big, long, drawn out questions that dance around what I really want to know. So if I really want to know something, I'm going to ask, and I never think about what's my next best question. I just listen, and that usually brings up my next best question. So now we have a conversation, we have a relationship going, and I trust my gut. And if it feels right to ask, I ask very simple questions, and I coach my team to ask very simple questions, which are, could you see yourself doing what I do?
Mm-hmm.
And I do have a really big social media following. So if you have a big social media following, a good way to follow that up is even if it's just with your family and friends to start with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then it doesn't seem like so big, right? Because people are
Right.
kind of like, oh my gosh, like that's a lot, right? People are thinking about their day one compared to your like day 1000 and something sometimes.
Sure.
Well, it's really simple questions. Could you see yourself doing what I do?
Mm-hmm.
Would you be interested in working with me? Could we work together? I think it would be really fun to work with you. So the
Mhm.
conversation always includes you.
Yep.
The
Love
focus
it.
is on that person. And that relieves some of that tension because that's
Mm-hmm.
what we want to do over time is in a short amount of time, we want to relieve that tension because you guys know that in this business, if we ask incorrectly or we've all got those spammy messages, tension goes like this. Our job is to create relationships that drives tension like this
Mm-hmm.
by creating
Mm-hmm.
some
I love
commonality and stating your intent. Like, what do we really want to accomplish? What do we really want to do? What do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Turning
I
it around
love
for them.
so guys, right, in your notes, if you're taking notes, and I always take notes. I have for years, and I love reviewing these. So if you're taking notes, write down how in your conversations you can go and look, you can evaluate yourself. Are you using the word me or are you using the word you? So think about it. Me might be I need a favor or me or I, right? Me is centered around me, and we want to have our focus be on them and their needs. So that word you, here's what's in it for you. How would this make you feel? What, you know, uh, to me too, how might your life improve by considering an opportunity like
Mhm.
this? So we're getting them thinking about what's best for them, not about what's best for me,
Mhm.
right?
And Joan, one of the things you will learn I'm sure you will learn in this Double Your Downline Challenge, Joan's Foursquare conversation. And she taught me something really important, and that's you want to have a one-on-one conversation with everybody before they enroll. That will change your whole trajectory of your
Mhm.
team. And I can tell you that for a fact. And so I know a lot of you struggle with how do I get them to get on the phone with me? That's something that I'm always working through with my team. And I figured out what my magic question is because I don't struggle getting anybody on a call.
Mhm.
And the way that I do that is I ask, hey, would you be open to hopping on a call just here on Instagram, using the video chat feature? We don't even need to exchange phone numbers, but that way we can see what this could look like for you.
I love that.
And then it doesn't feel like, oh my God, she's going to give me a hard sell and I'm going to feel obligated to join her team.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
She's not going to preach to me. She's going to help me figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, Beth, I want to, because you've used that Foursquare so effectively, let's talk about just a few of the transitions. So I'm going to talk about just the transition, let's say, from having just a casual chat, so we're finding out all about that prospect and what's important to her. How do you transition into, letting them know how a person would successfully get started? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, so I talk a lot on those. That's how much I love to ask questions and get to know people. So one of my first questions, transitioning from just like, hey, like, how's it going? Tell me a little bit about you. I would say, okay, so I'm super curious. What was it that made you say, yeah, like, I want to talk to Beth, or I'm interested in doing this?
All right.
What is that? What is that thing? And that opens up a whole conversation, and it makes it about them and what's important to them. But I used one of your transition questions around, so how are you feeling so far? And are you interested in talking a little bit about what some of the most successful artists do to get their businesses started?
Okay. Yeah. So transitioning to, hey, let's chat a little bit more about how some of the most successful consultants, art, whatever you are, get started. How would you feel about that? And, I'm nodding my head yes if I'm on a Zoom, or if I'm on a call, I feel like I can hear them say yes. And they usually go, yeah, that'd be great. So we're transitioning, following the steps of recruiting. I want to make one more comment. One of the things that I have found is that people have a hard time if they don't know the steps to the recruiting process. So one of the common things that happens is people will say, hey, let's hop on a call, or, whatever you're going to do, a voice chat, whatever you're doing, so that I can answer questions. Now, guys, that is really step 4. That's like inviting objections, right? Because their questions are usually, how much does it cost? Or, I don't really have a ton of questions. Just want you to know, I don't have a lot of money to get going. It begins in a place that becomes awkward, because why? Because we don't know what they truly want. We've skipped the steps of connecting and finding out what most interests them. So it's just a lack of knowing. And that's why I'm very excited to train around this. So Beth, I know you've got a time frame, and I want to thank you for being here. Guys, if you want to see more of Beth and all the amazing things she does, she will be a featured speaker in the VIP event for the Double Your Downline, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm super excited to get to know a lot of you over the next week. So it's going to be great. All right. Thanks, Joan.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, sweetie.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
All right, guys. The next panelist that I want to bring on is Laura Corafino. And I have known this woman for a number of years. Laura has been in the industry for a long, long time. She's built a 9-figure income, and I have so much respect for her, because she is not only a bright and a gosh, what would I say? Just an incredible leader in network marketing, but she also has a real skill set with technology and computers, which I have nothing around. And every time I hear her talk, I always think, like, this woman is so smart. In fact, she was in the Department of Defense. Like, this is just impressive. So I'm going to bring on Laura. I'm going to have her tell you a little bit about her journey. So Laura, welcome to the call, girl. How are you?
Great. How are you? Thank you for having me here. This is so exciting.
Well, we're very privileged to have you. I know you've got a lot going on. tell the people just a little bit about you and maybe how you got started and recruited into network marketing.
Well, how I got started in the industry, it was pretty funny. Okay, so it's very old school. Um, my background is Department of Defense. I worked for the intel community, and my husband is military. And when he got orders to his first duty station, which was outside of the DC area, he wanted us to move with him to California. So I had to resign from my career and go out there with him. We had 3 small kids at the time and living on a fixed income, one income at that time. And I happened to take my kids to go get a haircut at a kids salon, and I found a catalog. It was a jewelry catalog. I loved everything in it, and I wanted all the pieces, but I couldn't afford it. And I'm like, darn. I just happened to flip it over, and on the back was buy this kit, and it has like all the pieces I wanted in it. I'm like, oh, okay. And then it was like work from home opportunity. I'm like, okay, this is kind of I'm kind of curious because I need to find, something to bring in income because I couldn't work from home or couldn't work outside of the home. And I just went home and bought the kit. And the lady who I joined up under, she emailed me back and said, "Hi, welcome to my team." And I'm like, "What team? Okay, thank you. I didn't know what I did." And she's like, "I guess leaving your catalog at places actually works." And I'm like, "Well, I guess it does." So that was kind of like my introduction to direct sales. Fell in love with it, started doing home parties. And this is back in 2007. And I just fell in love with the industry. And you can make really good money here, really good money.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you've certainly done that, my friend. Laura, I want to dig right into those transitional questions. And I want you to think you've had teams of thousands, and I know you've been a top recruiter and all the things. So when you've been working with people, in your own words, going from just that casual chat, like maybe you're just beginning to know somebody online, how do you transition into talking about the business, whether it's popping the question or just having a conversation around that?
You know what I love to say to people is, you know what? I love your energy and I would love to work with you. Would you be open to hearing more about what I do? And it's really as simple as that.
I love it because, guys, this is really an actionable thing that Laura is sharing also. So complimenting the person on what you see.
Mhm.
I love your energy. I love your style. I love your, amazing way about you. Right. And
Yeah.
then are you open to hearing more? I love that. I love that. And often I know with many of the best coaches and people that, have the most success, we tend to use some of the same questions over and over again because they work. So I love that simplicity. Laura, what about going from, maybe you've answered all their questions when it comes to objections, right? So you've answered the objections, and then I find that a lot of people can do step 1, step 2, step 3, and then they get to the close and they get nervous. How do you transition from really wrapping kind of everything up that you talked about into closing and guiding them into a decision? Anything come to mind that you want to share?
Yeah, so I really love saying, what's the worst that could happen after I've already answered all their questions. I'm like, you know what? What's the worst we happen? We earn enough to earn your investment back. I help you earn that back, and you meet some new amazing friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, it's really true, and it also actually works. So
Yeah.
it
So
those defense.
yeah. So putting them in the picture of doing it and kind of going like, what's the worst thing if I showed you the way, what Laura's saying, to recoup that investment? What's the worst thing that could happen? I love that. What do people typically say?
they're like, you know what, you're right. I guess, might as well just join. And so I'll get them, and they'll join me. We also have, a conversation. I already know at this point, like, what their goals are, what they would like to or need at the time. And then once I get them to decide to go forward with this, on this journey with me, I dive a little bit more deeper into what direction they want to go with it, what their goals are, so that can really help them and guide them on the path of to get successful in this. And and then I also find out if they're just going to be a consumer of the product, or if they're going to be a real business builder.
Yeah. So guys, I want to just recap. I didn't do this at the beginning, but when I talk about the steps to recruiting, and really that I want you to think, let me recap what they really are. So really the first step for the majority of you is you're generating interest and curiosity around the business. Okay. That's really step one. Most of us do that through a post. We do it through our stories. You do it on many different platforms like short form video or whatever you're doing, but you're generating interest, right? And then you're looking at the likes, loves, you're looking at the comments. But then from that post, as an example, maybe you've got people that are raising their hand. They want more information. Now, some of you do the ATM process. You watch videos. Some of you immediately get them on a call. I like to do a combo of both, and it kind of depends on what my post was and who it is that I'm reaching out to. But I'm a connector. And in this world of social media, I use social media to expand my reach. I don't sell products necessarily from social media, although it does result in that, right? Products and services, but it's my place to connect more to the world at large, right? So the next step is to set a time to chat. And often I do that urgently, right? So I'm getting them right on right away. Okay, from there, it's presenting that opportunity. Here's what it looks like if you were to do a business like this. Step 4 is inviting objections. And then step 5 is to close. And through these different steps to recruiting, I find that if people really understand the steps and follow the steps in order, they don't feel as awkward. We don't find ourselves getting on the phone call to answer questions and starting at that step. We literally know, I'm going to go back and ask her about her and what's most important to her. And I know Laura does that. She just revealed that. So Laura, if there was something that you would want to kind of leave this call, leave the people, we got, lots of people watching and tuning in today. What would you want them to know about the recruiting process?
Is if you make it about them instead of yourself, you're serving others. You're going to not only gain a new friend, but more than likely you will get a new teammate as well. Just always go back and serve them. If you lead with a servant heart, you're going to do a lot more in this world and make a larger impact. And also it's going to help you financially as well.
Yeah, right. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with wanting to make great money and elevating your skills so that you can help more people do what you do.
Absolutely. And doing challenges like this, the double your downline challenge, getting in all the training that you can, especially for the knowledge of you and Megan, and all the other amazing leaders that are going to be in this as well, is you can't go wrong with this. This is amazing. It's going to impact your business greatly.
Oh, well, Laura, we're so pleased that you were willing to be a part of our panel as a speaker and a guest. And guys, tune in, because you're going to hear a lot more from Laura this next week on the Double Your Downline Challenge. And Laura, I want to thank you so much for taking your time today and being here with us.
Thank you. I appreciate
All right. Okay, babe, have a good afternoon, and we will see you next week.
You too. Bye.
Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to bring back Megan, and then Megan and I are going to just recap a couple things, and we're going to bring on our next guest speaker, and I want you to stay on for this, because let me tell you what, this is the woman. Her and her mother have been doing coaching, and they are the founders of the Direct Selling World Alliance, and I have learned everything I know around coaching from this amazing duo, Grace Keohoho and her mom, Nikki. And I'm so excited and thrilled for you to be able just to learn a little from her. And you're going to hear from her more in the challenge too. But let me bring back Megan right before Grace. And here we go. Megs, there you are.
Hey.
Yay. Yay. Hey, let's talk just a moment before we bring Grace on about powerful transitions. So from you, because you are so good at this, how do you go from just a casual conversation, whether you're out and about, whether you're online socially, how do you transition into feeling comfortable about popping the question?
Yeah, so I do something that I learned from you that works really well, that I almost, it just comes so naturally, and it's almost like I think of, like, even if I wasn't trying to recruit this person, I would say this. So amateurs hear kind of a ding, ding, ding in their head when they hear someone like, oh, I want to start make more money, or I need to, do this. Professionals keep gathering information until it's the right time to introduce the opportunity, right? I'm sure Grace will kind of hit on this as well. And so, an amateur, and we've all been there, right? It's like someone new to the industry with not a lot of training might go, oh my gosh, I have this thing you need to look at, right? Been there, done that for like more than too much time, right? Learned from my mistakes. But first off, I want you to, if you're here today, by the way, I want you to decide not to be an amateur anymore. I want you to decide to become a professional. And that's really what we're going to teach you and equip you with the skill sets to make this not just a side hustle, a career of becoming a professional networker. Okay. Because it's one of the best well-paid jobs, but it's also the most fulfilling. And it's not a job, but it's the most fulfilling. That's what I love, right? Careers. So becoming a professional means that you introduce the opportunity in a way that services people. So what I typically do is, after I've kind of heard a few comments, or it's pretty clear that this person like needs what I have to offer, I just kind of say like, well, Joan, I mean, you should take a look at what I'm doing. You'd be pretty good at it, because I'm recognizing their true authentic skill set. I'm not BSing them. I'm truthfully complimenting them in the right way. And it kind of sparks up a little natural engagement. And then now they're like, well, when can I sit down? I think of the time when you said something similar to me. I'm chasing you down. You're running, leaving with a FedEx. You're in launch mode. You're running. You're on the phone. And you sat me down and you threw the product at me, walked away. And I'm sitting here like, so how do I sign up? I mean, you never even had to tell me what it was about. I bought the urgency and the need of her serving me as a new mom, being like, I need something to do. So that's kind of what I like to do.
And, I'm thinking back to those days many, many years ago, but I was just thinking about it, guys. People that have a lot going on really are attractive. It's like, if you've got a calendar, if you're like, hey, I'm wide open on a Monday, it's kind of like, well, I'll just wait to pick that time. But if Megan said, you know what, I'm really booked up, I've got a lot of things going on, and I want to make sure that you are a priority, let's get that scheduled. I've only got a couple times, but you know what? I will make that time work for you. I don't care if you're wide open, guys. You don't want to sound wide open, because I want to get that FOMO comes, right? I want to get on her calendar. Anyway, thinking back to that time, I knew that Megan would probably appreciate something additional in her life, because she was a new mom and staying at home, and she's a busy woman. So it felt like, I want to invite her to look at this, because it may or may not. I wasn't attached to the outcome. It may or may not be right for her, but she's going to decide that. And that's how I approach everybody. So when you did, Megan, look at the business, I already knew she may have a need. But when she said yes, then here we go. Then we got even a little bit more detailed and what was most important to her. And these are the skills that you're going to hear Grace share. And I wish we could have Grace do coaching for an hour. Maybe we could con her into it at one point. I probably have to pay her handsomely, but hell, I'd be willing. All right, Megan, I'm going to stay on here just for a minute. I want to bring Grace because you and I both love Grace. Here she is. Here's Grace all the way. She's in Hawaii doing her hula and all that, aren't you?
Aloha.
Aloha, Grace. I think Grace
Oh my
is on.
goodness, aloha. Thank you so much for welcoming us. This has been so fun. Leaders are learners, and I have loved learning from all of you. And I'm grateful to be a part of your day and a part of everyone's journey here, those of you who are plugging in. So it's so fun.
Wow. Well, Grace, before Megan exits, I want to at least properly introduce you. So many of you, I just mentioned that I literally took and became a certified coach with Grace and Nikki at the you know what is it? Is it the DSWA? Is it the World or Women's? I always get that confused.
Yeah, DSWA, the World, Direct Selling World
Okay.
Alliance. Yes.
Direct Selling World Alliance.
Excellent.
I have to say, guys, that when I learned these coaching skills, I don't know, I think it might be 15 years ago. These gals have been doing it. They do it over and over. I remember listening to Nikki and Grace, and I thought, how do they know what to say? How do they feather in these conversations and in such a caring, compassionate way? I just wanted to learn this. And I have to admit, when I took my first proficiency test, I failed. That is the truth. I failed miserably. And I remember I looked at Nikki and she was like, that's okay, Joni, just get back and try it again. And I thought, oh, how am I ever going to get this? And one day with practice, who, what, where, when, how, never why, it just started flowing and it affected my entire life. So Grace, I want to just say that you most recently, I think in the last year and a half, I remember actually I was leaving Hawaii, you and I were talking, you were so thrilled about your new venture in the field, being a leader. And so you're kind of doing a little bit of both. You still speak globally, but what I would love for you to do is just really tell the crowd a little bit about your background and why they should be listening to you around coaching.
Oh my goodness. Well, I feel like it's a collective, we become who we surround ourselves with. So yeah, tune into that. And I honor everyone that's on this call listening to this, to be able to expand your skill set in your comfort zone. I think the greatest leaders are the ones that recognize that they haven't arrived. And I haven't arrived in my leadership and I haven't arrived in my coaching. I'm still learning at it every day. And I worked with a third of the top 100 network marketing and direct selling companies for over 22 years. So they would hire us to come in and work with their elite, the top echelon of the organization, and teach them facilitation skill sets as well as coaching skill sets and how to communicate in an effective and impactful manner. It's not a message for the moment, it's a message for the many and for a lifetime. And so yeah, I got to do that. And then I realized for years I didn't realize that I was looking to do what I had been working with others to do more proficiently. And what I realized is the skill sets that we taught work. And they work at a very accelerated rate. They accelerate. Coaching is known for accelerating success and high performance. It's like putting your foot down, pedal to the metal, and flying forward. So when the people that have this skill set, they can scale their organizations in an impactful manner. Their retention is increasing. The health of their business, it's a sustainable form of leadership. And a sustainable business model. So yeah,
well,
that's pretty much what it's been for all these years.
Yeah. And I have to say, I remember when I first got into the course and I thought, oh my gosh, it's so simple, but yet you really do need direction to learn how to implement it. but it really is so simple. And I remember you and Nikki saying, like, now don't go back and do it on your family, like, boom, because, and of course I couldn't help it. I'm like, well, when you clean your room, we'll go to the movies, and, instead of clean your room, then we'll go to the movies, right? So I begin practicing what I learned, and what I found with my team is I was able to get more to the heart of what was most important to them, like in a much more efficient way. Rather than a 30-minute conversation, I was able to hone in more with the skills. And the other thing is, I was able to gain more clarity. I was able to understand my team members more. And I also learned how to become a better listener, because I do love to talk. I mean, I just think it's fun to have conversation, but I realized, geez, Joan, you're talking too much and you might be talking at them. In fact, some of you right now are like, yeah, she's on a 40-minute training. But the truth is, the coaching skills changed everything. So I want to thank you for that, Grace. And now that I have you here, I want to talk a little bit about recruiting and coaching, because you also train this and you're living it out daily, just like Megan and I are, and all the other panelists that were here today. So before I just ask you questions, I want to just start with this. How do you feel the coaching questions have really elevated your own sponsoring in the field today?
Oh, yes, such a great question. Questions are the answers. So a lot of people that get nervous in our business, they do a lot of talking and telling and convincing, and it leads to a temporary outcome where they know a lot about what we have to offer, and we know very little about what they're looking for. So questions reveal areas of opportunity where we can bring value to someone else. So if they're sharing with us insights, it's almost like keys that unlock many doors. The more we have clarity, and as Brene Brown says it so well, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. So when we have more clarity around the desires and the dreams, the vision, the enthusiasm, the excitement, the pain, the struggle, the hardships, when we have an idea of what is happening, then we as leaders can support connecting the dots. So what they're looking for with what we have to offer to create alignment. And so questions are super key, and there's no wrong or right question. If someone says to you, can you repeat that? Please don't. What they're saying is, I don't understand the question you're asking me and how it's being asked. So ask it in another way. But the mind processes questions 6 to 7 times faster than it does statements. That is a statistic. So knowing that, do we want in these conversations for people to be leaning in because they're so much more interested in what they have to say and what their goals are versus what we've accomplished? For years, I would hear people say, this is my I story. I'm like, no one wants to hear a person's I story. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't care what we do. Some people don't even care what our names are. They want to know, what is in it for me? How am I going to benefit from what you're offering? What is the connection? Support me to find, this is what I'm looking for. This is what you have to offer. But they really don't, for a hot second, they want to hear that you're a credible person, and that's it. Go forward and tune into their station.
Yeah, I love that. And, again, I found in all of the language that I craft, follow up, content language, I always look to be sure that it's all about the person. What's in it for you? Tell me more about you, however it is. And that also becomes a habit that you guys here listening, you can be aware of those words, the I's and the me's versus the you, and focusing on that other. Okay, Grace, let's talk about just a recruiting chat. So you are so amazing with questions. What are some of the questions that you ask to really uncover what's most important to a person?
Oh, yes. I love asking them, simple as that. Like, what is most important to you at this stage of your life? Because,
Okay.
it may be this is what's important to them. I like to ask them, where are they at right now? Like, what is working in their lives? And what, if anything, is missing? So
Uh-huh.
some people are living on a treadmill of life. They're like settled into what they think is all there is. This is all I've been dealt, versus expanding and becoming possibilitarians, as Roy Disney once said,
Yeah.
expanding the horizons of what's available to them. So where are you at? Where would you prefer to be? What are some of your strengths? This is one of my favorite questions to ask someone, because a lot of times people are comparing themselves to you. These are questions that are popping up in their minds. Can I do what you're doing? And do I want to? So if
Mm,
we look yeah. Do I want to do what you're doing? Do you look like you're ripping your hair out and like frazzled and stressed out and walking around like, how many people are like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. She's overwhelmed. I can't wait to be overwhelmed too. Sign me
yeah.
up. No, they're not. They're like, where's the door? Thank you. No, thank you. So if we present a life of chaos, people are not going to say, I want to do that. If we're presenting a life of fulfillment, of joy, of passion, that this is not a job, this is a mission possible. So we have an expansive vision. When you are willing to make bold statements, have a bold vision, people will naturally, and not just have a bold vision, a bold activation on that vision. That's where people are drawn to you like a magnet. So that these conversations, they're so natural, because people are grateful to be in your space, because people are not just looking for a business when they're
Mhm.
having this conversation with you. It's not like,
Mhm.
oh, just sign me up. It's a casual sign up anymore. It is, they're interviewing every aspect of their decision. It is,
Yeah.
what do you have to offer me? What does this company have to offer me? They are vetting leadership. So
Right.
again, I think I skipped a couple of things. I just was so excited to share, because I think it's important for us to recognize, are we living a life that others would love to be able to see themselves in? And if
Yes.
that is the life you're leading and living, let's reflect on that and pivot. See, we don't, just because we've done certain things a certain way and got a result, does not mean that we have to continue to do it that way. Just as
Mhm.
the business and the profession is evolving, we too, as leaders, are called to evolve. And
Mhm.
those that are not willing will be left behind. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are just a few
I
thoughts. Sorry.
no,
Just
no,
give me a
I
mic and I'm running.
yeah, yeah, right. Yeah. No, I love it. I do love it. I really do, because, the one piece that I've kind of been on the bandwagon about is, and I feel very called to be in connection and relationship. I do many things live. I've had people ask me, why don't you evergreen that? Why don't you do that? And I'm sure some things I will and do, but I just know how important the connection is. We work from home. You don't have the luxury of having fun with the people you work around. I mean, I have a freaking cat here. I mean, geez, I know you have 8 kids. My gosh, by the way, 8 kids. But so, hey guys, for those of you out there, I just want a little squirrel on you. But for those of you that are going, I've got a couple kids at home. Think of Grace. She's got lots of kids and all those kids. I mean, it is possible. So, all right, let me get back on track. I admire that. Let me get back on track though, Grace, because you do this. I want to give them some closing questions. I saw here in the comments, people are having a challenge closing, and I use a particular closing question almost all the time. I know Grace will like this. I say, "You tell me, Grace, where would you like to go from here?" See,
Yes.
it's all about Grace, and she's going to guide me to where we're going. That's my closing question. Often I recap what Grace told me. So I'd say something like, well, what I'm hearing you say is you want blah, 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 blah. And I might say, so if I could help you get blah, 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 well, you tell me, you know, would you like to get started? Or I always say, where would you like to go from here? Grace, how do you close with somebody? Or for those people out there struggling, how do you go
Yes.
from, wrapping it up to really inviting them to make a decision with action?
So this is great. So with questions, I want you to weave the words that our prospects, what I often do is I will use their words. So their words resonate with them because it's a common language for them. I love what Nelson Mandela, he said, speak in a way that people understand. You speak to their minds. When you speak their language, you speak to their hearts. So people make decisions based on emotion. So when you can grasp some of the words that they're using and weave them into your questions, that is what I would call a more advanced coaching technique. What it is doing is it's calling you to listen and to be mindful of what you're hearing. And then how do you intertwine that word or that message into your question? The one question and I will get to and I like to say open relationship. I don't close deals because I see it as a closed door. I open relationships because that is a sustained approach. And so when I'm looking at it, I'm not going in for the kill. I'm going in for the alignment and connection. So there was a few things though that I mention that I will share with you. I asked them what are their strengths. I had mentioned oftentimes people compare themselves to us. So what are their strengths? So that because sometimes what happens is people think, oh, you're good at social media. I'm not good at social media. I can't go live. I don't have that skill set. So by us asking them, what are some of the things that come naturally for you? What are some of your strengths? May I share with you how those strengths could be applied for success in our business? May I share with you based on what you're good at already, how that can be useful. You can monetize your gifts.
I
All
love
right.
that. Love that.
Okay. And then also based on the goals that you have, based on the vision that you're looking to accomplish. So first off, I'll get to that question in a second. But one question that you can ask is how do you see yourself beginning? What do you see are the next best steps? How can I support you in this decision? How can I
I love
serve you in this decision? And then based on what you're looking to accomplish, because many of our companies, we offer packages of products. So you buy wholesale to be able to make available at retail, so forth and so on, based on what we have to offer and what you're looking to accomplish. Which of these packages would align with that vision you have?
I love that. I love that. Okay, I want you to pause real quick. Guys, could you see having Grace back for a full-on coaching session fully, right? I mean, we're so blessed, Grace, to have you. But I want to make one last comment. I love this stuff because it's so practical and it works. She said it at the beginning. It works. It's probably the best skill set that I have developed that has catapulted my business, to 6 figures, to 7 and beyond. And I'm telling you guys, practice this who, what, when, where, and how. And Grace would tell you, and I'll say, we always avoid the word why because it puts people on the defense. We don't want to go like, well, why didn't you call me back? Why didn't you get your homework done? It doesn't feel good. And then we go back to that. Are people moving closer to me, further away, or are they running for the hills? And it might be because of the way I worded it, right? That they're running. It also might be that they're moving closer because I'm getting better at listening and asking better questions. So Grace, you said one thing I want to just recap. I know I was recapping, but many people, when they hear no, they think it's done. And even if they have the knowledge that no might not mean no forever, they still move on. I will tell you right now, more people get almost surprised or even a little shocked when they tell a person no. I've had this happen in my own scenario. They tell me no, and then I stay with them. Now, I'm not saying we're talking every day or anything, but I open that relationship, like Grace said. And many times those people may or may not become customers. Many times they may or may not join you, but you've opened a relationship. And to me, guys, this is what life is really all about. So when you're using the questions, the last thing I want to say is put them in the possibility, right? So if you were to do a business like this, how might this impact you and your family? It really does get them thinking. And Grace, I learned from you the 6 to 7 times, right? Gets them truly thinking more than me giving them a statement. And I want to thank you for all that you've taught me, for all that you've done for this industry for, 30 some years. And I just, again, I'm so excited for those of you that want to know more and learn more from Grace. She is going to be a featured speaker during our VIP event as well as on our panel. So Grace, thanks so much for being here today. We love you.
Oh, I love you too. Thank you both for having us. And thank you for making this a possibility for so many on a global scale, because your practice becomes permanent and what you input, you output. So by investing in yourself, by coming on to these calls and experiencing this challenge and letting your teams, creating space for your teams to know about it as well. Can you imagine what momentum can be created with everyone speaking the same language? So thank you, Joan, and thank you, Megan.
I love it. All right, babe. Hey, love you. Have a wonderful day. Hopefully you're catching some surf. No, you're like, yeah, Joan, right. But thank you, Grace, for your time. I'm going to bring back Megan. Grace, I'll see you next week, and have a beautiful day. All right. We got Megan back to the stage. Guys, this was a long one today, but I know I'm seeing in the comments and I'm seeing the people that have stayed or even joined in. It's been so worthwhile. And for those of you that want more from any of these panels and speakers, I want to just recap real quick. We're going to be day 1. Megan, do you want me to recap, or you want to recap day 1 through 5 of the challenge? Oops, you're on mute, babe.
Yeah, go ahead and recap.
Okay, guys. So starting this coming Monday, we're going to be going live, and we've got a call scheduled for you. And our challenge, we got a 5-day challenge with a bonus day. So we're going to be really focused on exploding your reach. Megan is going to really dig deep and help you with actionable tools on exploding your reach online. We're going to be going over sales tips and sales skills. We're also going to be honing in on the recruiting conversation. Megan, give them just a little bit more about what they can expect also in the implementation labs as well.
Yeah, I was actually just speaking with someone earlier about this, because they were like, should I do VIP? So in the challenge, we do have an upgrade option. If you're a VIP, drop a 1 in the comments here. And by the way, if you're not registered, you can head over to www.doubleyourdownlinechallenge.com for this free 5-day event. But when you upgrade to become a VIP, you get recording access, unlimited recording access. And also tomorrow, we have a special Launch Your 2024 workshop. So the challenge is actually kicking off for the VIPs tomorrow. So if you're like ready to go now, best time to get in. You can upgrade after you register. Awesome. I see you VIPs. But
Mhm.
really, the VIP lounge is meant to be these implementation labs. So after the challenge each day, we're going to get on a special Zoom with different panel speakers each day. Like I know day 4, Lauren Morris is going to be sharing like how to recruit from short reels. We're going to be diving into more coaching and onboarding with Grace, so many other key players. And this is going to be a chance to get your one-on-one questions answered, get specialized training for you, and actually implement and take action from the knowledge you gained during the day. So I always heard it best. It's like the smartest person in the world isn't the most successful. If they were, librarians would be wealthy, right? Because they're filled with books and knowledge all around them. The actual implementation of the knowledge is what creates the success and the wealth. So first off, you've invested in yourself being here for the time, right? Now, if you're ready to invest your wallet, right, $27, you can become a VIP member and get special implementation time with the panel speakers, unlimited recording access, and there's a couple other goodies and stuff along the way. So I'm really excited. Was just chatting with a few VIPs earlier. I see we've got lots in the crowd. The VIP crowd is going wild in the comments. But we're, I really want to say, like, thank you for those of you who are here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating, because us being able to serve you in the field from this generic view has been incredible, because I know Joan and myself, been building for such a long time, but what's most important to us, I think, is really helping the field as a whole, because what it's done for us as mothers, especially the life and freedom the industry has given us. So to be able to be here and pour into you guys, I mean, truly means the world. So I want to encourage you to calendar in every day after you register for the challenge, Tuesday through Saturday, the 16th at 12 o'clock Central. Okay. We also have updated the global times. Get ready. After 2 days of research and checking with my friend Gunnar on how to pronounce these time zones, we will be live at 6 UK, 7 GMT +1 or CEU. Did I mess that? So we are global. We are a global movement. So, but hey, I want to encourage you to share the love, invite a friend, make a post in your team page, invite in the team chats, bring some friends with you to the challenge, okay? Because we're going to have a ton of prizes and a ton of implementation time. And you are truly going to learn how to double your downline every month after month, even. For those of you who are like, I've only got 10 people. We're going to show you how to go from 10 to 20 in 30 days. We're going to show you how to go 20 to 40 and so on and so forth, or 1,000 to 2,000 over this year with these strategies.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, we have probably exhausted many people, but we hope that as you look at your notes today, that you take even one thing that you learned and put it into action. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining here today. We love you so much, and we'll see you in the Double Your Downline Challenge. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.